Greetings and solidarity from Fire This Time Movement for Social Justice in Canada. My name is Alison Bodine, and I am a central organizer of Fire This Time Movement for Social Justice and on the editorial board of Fire This Time newspaper. Thank you to Workers' World Party for initiating this important gathering and inviting Fire This Time to give our perspective on the importance of Lenin today on the occasion of the commemoration of 100 years since the passing of the great leader of the proletariat and communist movement, Vladimir Ilyich Lenin. The ongoing genocidal Zionist-Israeli onslaught against the people of Gaza and Palestine is the unmasked face of imperialism, as Lenin said, the highest stage of capitalism, which is also the highest stage of criminality, inhumanity, and brutality. The Palestinian struggle today also reminds us of the important concept that we learned from Lenin and the Bolsheviks of self-determination for oppressed nations. The urgent necessity for revolutionaries around the world to organize against this horror calls on us to examine Lenin's ideas and legacy. Lenin was the greatest revolutionary politician to have ever lived. He was a great revolutionary leader, organizer, theoretician, humanist, strategist, tactician, and comrade, resolute in his uncompromising approach to the struggle of the working class for liberation through taking power. There are many aspects of his legacy, but his understanding of the development of imperialism and his decisive role in winning the Russian Revolution of 1917 stand out in their importance to the struggle of working and oppressed people today. The legacy of Lenin can also be understood through the words of his fellow revolutionaries. My first quote: "The main work of Lenin's life was the organization of a party capable of carrying through the October Revolution and of directing the construction of socialism. The theory of the proletarian revolution, the methods and tactics to be pursued, constitutes the fundamental content of Leninism, which as an international system forms the culminating point of Marxism. Lenin's single aim filled his life from his school days onwards. He never knew hesitation in the fight against those he considered the enemies of the working class." These are the words of Leon Trotsky, a central leader of the Russian Revolution. Rarely in any process, perhaps never in a political process, has a thought, a mind, an intellect been able to make such a significant contribution. Lenin was a tireless investigator and worker. It can be said that after acquiring political consciousness, he did not rest a single moment during his lifetime. The words of Comandante Fidel Castro. "Lenin will remain the sun for all peoples of the world, and the reactionaries will not have enough land on the entire planet to bury Lenin's ideas." The words of Comandante Hugo Chavez. Guided by Marxist doctrine, Lenin led a profound revolution in complex social and political conditions. His long pilgrimage of theory and praxis made him an extraordinary example of will and perseverance for all generations. The words of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. And for the final quote, "The theoretical and practical leader of the left in the 20th century continues to be indispensable in the 21st, due to his contributions to Marxism and his unsurpassed characterization of imperialism." The words of Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel. Lenin was unfaltering in his work to combat imperialism and capitalism. Lenin worked to build consistency in approach as a professional revolutionary, building a revolutionary mass party capable of carrying out a socialist revolution. Lenin was also fervently loyal to the principle that there is no revolutionary movement without revolutionary theory. So what does this mean for us revolutionaries today? Today in a world now characterized by a new era of war and occupation. It means that we need Lenin's ideas and teachings more than ever before. And in the spirit of Lenin, there is one concrete concept of Lenin's that we believe is absolutely fundamental to our struggle today, that of self-determination for all oppressed nations. This idea of Lenin's manifested in the Russian Revolution when the Bolsheviks put forward a program for self-determination for all oppressed nations under the Tsar, up to and including secession. The Bolsheviks under Lenin remained loyal to this idea, gaining the confidence of oppressed nations who joined the Russian Revolution. Thus, Lenin's ideas continue to guide us in the struggle for self-determination for all oppressed nations today, from indigenous nations in the US and Canada, to the organizing and struggle of the work of Black Lives Matter and the movement for the rights of Latinos, to the struggle of the people of Puerto Rico and Palestine against colonialism. If Lenin was alive today, he would put his efforts into building a united front for mass movement for defending the self-determination and liberation of Palestine. He would be at the forefront of building a worldwide united front for Palestinian people. So, if we are to commemorate Lenin truly and honestly on the 100th anniversary of his death, we must do so through carrying on his work. We must recommit ourselves to fighting tirelessly for the self-determination and liberation of the people of Palestine through building a more united and stronger movement against the brutal Zionist Israeli apartheid state. Comrades, thank you again for the invitation to address this important commemoration. The work ahead of us is great, but together, armed with the ideas of Lenin, we will win a new world without capitalism and imperialism. Venceremos!